Arjun from Sacramento.
Hello, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, good evening.
Tammy in Melbourne.
Good evening. This is Jeree from Philly.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey, how are you?
I'm sorry, say again, Rob.
I was just speaking, saying hello.
Oh,
Hey,
hi,
Mr. Dunbar.
Hey,
Hello, good evening, good evening. This is Adrian from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Oh, well, a little bit from Orlando, Florida.
Stephanie from Killeen, Texas.
Arnita Deal out of Mississippi.
Good evening, family. Allison Ware out of Brunswick, Georgia.
Dan True, Maine.
Valeria Hamilton, Atlanta, Georgia.
Gary in Ontario.
Robert Wiseman,
Mr.
Oxford,
Randa,
Ohio.
Mr. Randa, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Gary. How you doing?
Doing just fine.
You spoke to everybody else?
Well, I spoke with Mr. Dunbar. Mr. Dunbar, good evening. Yeah, so I got to speak to Mr. Dunbar. That's my good friend.
It's 40 people on here. Can you just say good evening, everybody?
Okay, well, I want to say, Mr. Dunbar, that was good training, by the way, on your on the Go for No, Mr. Dunbar. That's a very good training. And hello, everybody else.
good stuff. Oh,
Yes, sir.
appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir, brother. Hello to everybody else on the call. And Mr. Rand, I may be giving you a call about something. I'll touch base with you. May have something in the area I'm working on.
Okay, Mr. Gary.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Dunbar, am I floating?
Huh?
Am I floating?
A little bit. Not you're floating a little bit, but you're good. I see you with your Ethan Allen in the background. Oh boy. All right, we're gonna get started here in about 60 seconds. 8:35, we'll get rolling here. Do our introductions. Guys, we got a great. If this is your first time on, this is gonna be your best first time. If it's not your first time on, this is gonna be your best whatever time, however many times you've been on. we'll be doing an interview this evening with Sharanda Ivy on opening up trucking companies as group for starting with the small business plan, guys. That is
Robert, you're muted.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there.
Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you now.
So did y'all hear anything I said, or y'all didn't hear nothing?
Nope.
I didn't.
Nothing.
So I just did a whole spiel. I just sold y'all on all of these goods and wasted my time. I tell you. So what I was saying was, if you have never been on this call or this Zoom before, this is going to be an exciting first time. And if you've been on here before, this is going to be your most exciting however many times you've been on. How about that? So we got a great interview today with Miss Sharanda Ivy. And that interview is going to be about how to open up a small business, open up a trucking company with a small business first. And I believe she's going to go into talking to owner operators about the small business plan as well. What's great about that is not only more protection for that company. So one, you're protecting the company better. Two, they have another product that belongs to you, which means, right, a better chance of them staying on the books. And you heard Mr. Lamar Reynolds a few weeks back talking about the back end, right? Keeping that membership on the books so that you get paid later on because you kept it on the books after you put it on the books. And it's also going to mean more money for you when you offer that small business plan. And Sharanda Ivy is going to talk about why this newer business plan is more beneficial to the truck driver. So we're going to do a short interview with her. And we also going to have a testimonial by Miss Arnethia Hickman afterwards, who just actually opened up a group with the small business plan and some group memberships. So we're going to talk to somebody in the field who just actually did this right around the same time that we're talking about Sharanda coming in and talk to us. So for those who don't know, Miss Sharanda Ivy has shown up several times on Facebook as being one of the top small business sellers. So you guys are learning from one of the top small business people, and she's also really great in the CDLP space as well. So who better to talk about both of those topics at the same time? So we're gonna go through our introductions, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Miss Sharanda Ivy via interview that I do with her. So welcome everybody again. We appreciate you guys all, and I'm gonna turn over to Sharanda to do her introduction first. You know what, Sharanda, we'll just skip you because I'm gonna have you introduce yourself when I do the interview anyway. So let's start with Lamar Reynolds. And you know what, Lamar, this is what I'm gonna do. No, go ahead, Lamar. Go ahead and do the introduction, then I'll do mine, and then I'll go ahead and then introduce Sharanda to do hers during the interview. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Floor is yours.
All right. I see Mr. Clarence with us. We can get started now. All right. This is Lamar Reynolds out of Houston, and it's great to be on the call here tonight. And I just want to do a quick introduction of myself. I've been with Legal Shield almost 15 years now, and I've been selling the CDLP membership for right close to 12 years, and I've been a CDLP trainer for 11 years, and I've earned the 50,000K ring and the 100,000K ring by selling the CDLP. And, you know, along the way, I got really smart. I started selling the doubles, bundling with the legal plan. So it's an excellent way to go to market is in transportation. And Sharanda's going to share with you tonight all the different products that you can sell in transportation. So that's what I've done as well. And I've sold 5,000 personal memberships in transportation. I'm part of the Special Forces and part of the Solution Emerald Elites. So it's quite an honor to be on the call here tonight with people that are wanting to learn and grow their business, because that's what it's all about. And Mr. Robert, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, fantastic. So again, thanks everybody for joining us. You heard from Lamar Reynolds. Of course, Mr. Randy is traveling. So for those that are the prayer warriors on the line, pray for Randy Hooker while he's on the road. Make sure he stays safe out there. And so we've got my quick introduction, then we're going to turn it right over to Sharanda Ivy, and I'm going to start the interview with Ms. Sharanda Ivy. So my name is Robert Dunbar, been a trainer with Legal Shield for 6 years, been a CDLP trainer for a little over 3 years. I've been with the company 11 years. I do work every area of the business. So I have a team. I'm a 100K ring earner. I've got 250K ring earners on my team. And our job here is to really make sure that you're suited for the field and understand the difference between offering this plan versus the family plan. And we also talk about offering all the other plans here, everything from our family legal to our identity theft to our small business plan, and of course, our CDLP basic plan that we have here that we talk about most, and different approaches and things like that that you need to understand to get into these companies and offer this as a product and service. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Sharanda Ivy to do her introduction, and then I'm gonna start asking her questions about the small biz space and how you can open up these groups starting with the small business plan for these trucking companies. So Ms. Sharanda Ivy.
Thank you, Dunbar. I'm Sharanda Ivy here in Byron, Georgia, about an hour south of Atlanta. in Middle Georgia. I've been a part of Legal Shield. June will be my 8th year. Started the company just working as what we call a full service, associate, not working any job or anything. This is all I was done. My background is in healthcare, but so with Legal Shield, just these last, I say 3.5 years, just focused on the CDLP space. Just wanted to become, I guess, more of a master in a part of the business versus doing everything. So CDL was very interesting to me, and I excelled in that. So I love, like Lamar said, I get up now talking to CDL drivers and companies. That's my focus. I go out every day prospecting, not go out, but I prospect every day in that space. I'm LOJ 2019 Ladies of Justice. I earned that award as #1 field trainer back in last year at the convention. Solutions Sapphire Lead Associate and Special Forces and Small Biz. And just love this space. Just appreciative of this call. I do host an accountability call on Thursday nights, more of a mastermind for those individuals that are really moving in the space and like to have some accountability. So that's about it. I think I'm a 1,000 production app award personally as well. So with that, turn it over to you, Dunbar.
All right, fantastic. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and Lamar, feel free, just, if you need to, if you want to ask something or something comes up, just, man, just unmute and jump on in. That's Lamar, the other trainer. That's not I ain't talking to anybody. So Lamar, make sure if you have any questions, you jump in and do that. So we're going to get started by one asking for you to just kind of give us a brief overview of the small business plan, because of course we've got some people on the line that they hear small business plan, it's like, what is that? And then you've got some that obviously because you're out here selling it, that's still thinking about the old plan. They don't even know that there's a new plan. So if we can go over first what that small business plan is and how it can help the truck drivers.
Okay. So this year, corporate actually revamped the small biz plans. I think we had 6 plans before this year. So they they redid the plans, and so now we have the essentials, the plus, and the pro. The prices went up a little bit, and they took out the trial defense out of the plus and the pro. And the trial defense now is a supplement that you can add with the plus or the pro. It doesn't automatically come in with that plan anymore. And like I said, the pricing went up about $10 for each plan. And what I like about the upgrade and the new plans is that on the plus and the pro, you have what we call some interstate coverage, meaning that it goes out of state. Coverage is out of state. It's not just for your particular state like it was before. And that's huge with a lot of companies that are doing business, in different states, so their drivers are in multiple states, meaning over the road. It has some more coverage as well. Now it helps with business taxes and things like that. That was huge. And we have some flat rates on some of the services like contracts and things like that, which is huge as well. A lot of business owners ask about that often in the field. And so the difference with the essential, you can't add the plus, and it's just state specific. And so, but the plans are merely about the same. You just get a little bit more coverage, like the business consultation, the review of contracts, telephone calls. Now you have some services, some coverage with getting your trademarks and things like that as well. And then, like I say, the supplement is an added feature to the Plus and the Pro. So, and we have some great flat sheets now that call proposals that you can go in the back office and, personalize, with your name and information. But they call them proposals, which is an overview of the benefit that we offer. So back over to you, Dunbar.
All right. So just to be clear, the 3 plans that we have now, the lowest price plan is $49, and
Correct.
you cannot attach trial defense to that plan. They have to get the $99 or the $169. Is that the case?
Correct.
Okay, good. And then the interstate deal is the small business plan. At one time, when a business owner had it, it would only defend them with legal matters that happened in the state that business was formed in. And now with interstate, they are allowed to use it across state lines, which is beneficial for a trucking company because a lot of times they're over the road trucking companies. Is that the case?
Yeah, the Plus has some interstate features, and the Pro has, I think most of all its features is interstate. And it used to be, they would refer them out at a 25% discount to, to another state. Yeah.
Okay. So you're out here protecting the trucking companies with the small business plan before you even open up the group. That's been your angle?
You said what now? I'm sorry.
Have you been opening up the trucking company on a small biz plan before you set the group up, or are you doing it at the same time?
Normally I do it at the same time. When I was knocking on doors, we normally would go in and do the DM appointment, and we would walk out with the group authorization form and a small biz plan.
Okay.
So I make it a part of the group.
Good. You make it a part of the group. So you're offering that small business plan and then hitting the CDL drivers on the CDLP membership. Yeah,
I've always really led with small biz. My personal take on it is if I can show the value to the owner, he'll give me the opportunity to share with his employees. That's always been my take on it.
Gotcha. Okay, good. So what made you start going after the small business? Because I know that's all business solutions, and you're opening up groups with commercial drivers anyway. So what made you start offering the small business plan in conjunction while opening up instead of coming back later or whatever the case may be?
Well, in this space, just having in CDL, because I really, really try hard not to focus on anything else, because that's where my strength is. And so just having more conversations with the companies, realizing they needed the service. And it's not for the citation part and violations part. That's our CDL plan. The small biz helps them with the business coverage, and they're dealing with a lot of business issues. And so therefore, but most of them don't, they're asking friends their opinions on how to run their business, thinking that their situation is similar. So they don't go, I realized that they wasn't seeking attorneys because of cost. They got so much overhead already. And so therefore an attorney is the last thing on their list. Gotcha.
So I know from offering the small biz plan myself sometimes to trucking companies that there can be a danger in that. So that we make sure that people understand, like, not to present that the wrong way and not to have them, don't mislead them into thinking that the business plan is going to do specific transportation law things. So give us some ideas of why it's so important to make sure that when you're offering the small business plan, you don't oversell it because they're in the transportation industry.
Absolutely. You have to remember if you've prospected a small business, a transportation small business company, if you prospected that company, you'll learn quick that his business or her business is the most important thing to them. And when we're talking about business plans, all they're thinking about is their company. And so we had to learn quickly that, and I say we, that's my workout partner, Ms. Crawford. We had to learn quickly because what we learned is that the owner is so focused on their company and all they hear is business plan. And, you know, and you're sitting there asking a ton of questions and you're talking about citations and violations and things like that. But knowing that we had other products that we were going to bring to the table, but we're also talking about their business issues, we had to learn quickly that we had to separate those issues because they get in their head business plan, citations and violations, and you know they get it twisted and think that that business plan is all they need. And then you say, well, no, you know, this is for your business matters, you know, so you have to make it clear that this has nothing to do with the citations and the violations, because at the end of the day, their business is what's most important to them. And so they don't understand that it's a difference in the two programs. So we definitely have to be clear that we are definitely making them understand that this business plan has nothing to do with those violations and citations that is on their safety report, which we're leading to go in the door with.
Right. And so that business plan is going to help the business owner deal with their business issues. And the CDL plan that you market to the drivers will protect the company from the citation and violations if we win in court and the lawyers do all of the things that the lawyers do, which is out of our hands. But
right,
that's why you're offering a plan like that.
Right. And you have to be careful to talk and have conversation with the owners, because we know if we've had those conversations, every owner isn't for his drivers. So, you know, you can say, oh, we have this, as Lamar calls it, the ticket program, which I've adopted that word too. The ticket program that works on nothing but these violations. You'll talk to some owners that think that that's the driver's problem and not his problem. And so you have to be careful because if we've talked about the business plan and then we're trying to, you know, really bring it back around to talk about the ticket program for the drivers, he's stuck on the business plan because to him, that's what's important. The driver shouldn't have got that citation. You find those owners like that. So you have to be careful because you may be sitting in front of an owner or talking to an owner that really don't care a whole lot about his drivers and understand how citations work. And therefore you get stuck with him focused on his business. And we've talked about this coverage that can help his business. So you have to really, really have good conversation, ask a whole lot of questions, and really separate the two.
Gotcha. So what would you say to any like rep on the line, like anybody that's on here right now that's thinking, okay, the small business plan, I want to offer this plan. They've got, 17 drivers, whatever the case may be, a trucking company with under 30 drivers. You're speaking, they're going to speak to that company. What is their approach to that owner or safety manager when it comes to?
Well, I'm just talking from my experience. Initially, I wasn't well versed to sell what I call a package, right? When I first started, training with you and Lamar, I was focused on the CDLP plan, opening a group, the CDLP plan, the legal plan. It was just after learning more about the industry and learning more about the companies that, my presentation, began to come together and start to form. So initially, I didn't talk about all the benefits at one visit or at one call, because, some of that was phone calls. at one point. Initially, when I really got started, that happened right quick. You know, I had to go to the phones, but I didn't talk about all the benefits in the beginning. It was, you know, just opening the group with the combo plan and then going back and putting that small business plan into the group. But as the years have, you know, went on, I've gotten better. And so I am well versed to talk all at one time. But initially I didn't. So I say to that associate that is trying to get it all in, maybe you have to just continue to go back, or you have to, you know, just continue to offer different products, because that gives you a reason to communicate with your prospect too, to keep going back. So if you can't just do it all in one sitting or whatever, just do it in pieces and whatever you think you're strong with.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Lamar, where you at, Mr. Reynolds? Got any questions, anything?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions there for you. So as we look at the Small Business Plus and the Small Business Pro for trucking companies, Sharanda, which one do you kind of gravitate to? And I think I've heard different people talk about really, you know, depending on how much, you know, that they're paying for the attorneys per hour, that the pro should be what we sell to every company. But I want to kind of get your take on the plus and the pro as it relates, and that we do not have a size regulation of the programs now. So I'm just kind of curious, you know, for a medium-sized company, maybe with 100 drivers or 50 drivers, what do you gravitate to? Do you want to really push the pro, or do you want to push the plus?
Well, you know, I'm not up in that 100, 200. You know,
Okay.
That's not my prospect, right? But because I haven't even went back to I have a couple of companies that do have over 100. I haven't went back with the small biz. Me personally, I do the plus,
okay,
which is the 99 now, and I do the trial defense. I would say though, Lamar, if I had a company that large, and asking the questions, I probably would gravitate more to the pro, because they probably have more problems. And not saying that the smaller company doesn't, but in asking questions, a lot of times they have dodged attorneys as much as possible. So they really haven't spent that money in that part of their business. So for the clients I'm prospecting, you know, I've kind of, you know, my sweet spot is the 99, which is the plus and the trial defense.
I want to get your agreement on what I'm about to say in terms of transportation, whether that company is 50 drivers, 25 drivers, or 5 drivers.
Right.
That the trial defense is really a key component to add to this plan.
Absolutely. I don't, honestly, even when we had the $39 plan, I never offered that. I never promote the $49 plan, the essential. When we talk pricing, it's always the 99. I talk the $99 plan. That's the plan I'm talking. When I quote it, I quote 113.
113. Okay. So in the Business Plus supplement, do you find that the smaller companies really need that feature?
No.
Okay.
So when they came about those new plans, and I guess I shouldn't talk about those plans because they're not here anymore, but when they had them together, I was really adamant about, you know, promoting those plans because the small biz was in there and, you know, all this. But what I found is that they weren't using that part of the benefit. Transportation companies normally have their own software that they use because they're tracking maintenance, if the driver qualifications, they have their own software. The smaller companies really don't have websites, so they're really not into that, you know. And when it comes to the consultant part, they probably could use them, but they're not. It's just not something that they would use. And so so what I did was I went back to selling the individual plans versus the two that were together. But even now, you know, working with smaller companies and startups, I still don't push the plus because it's just not features that they are looking to use.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a CRM, they're not using that type of CRM. They have their own software that they use. Yeah. So I'm not really selling that in CDL.
I had a company 2 years ago. They only had 9 trucks. They were involved in a fatality accident and they got put out of business. So, you know, that's why I say about the trial defense. We really need to be selling that to transportation. But if you could just respond just a little bit on, it really doesn't have to be a fatality accident. I mean, it could just be a minor accident. And now this company is having to defend themselves in court and they don't have anything in place and it just drains their money.
Right.
Could you talk on that?
So yeah, so when I started focusing on CDL, I remember talking to you and, you know, going through the process of learning. And so the tragic accident was my go-to for the trial defense. It was just my go-to. But now that I've learned more, these trucking companies are in lawsuits and it has nothing to do with an accident. They're in lawsuits with vendors. They're in lawsuits with companies where if they're damaging the goods that the freight that they're moving, you know, they could find themselves in a lawsuit with that. They can find themselves in a lawsuit with, you know, factoring companies, you know, trying to get out. I've had a couple of companies here recently that was, you know, they needed legal defense. They needed an attorney to help them get out of contracts with factoring companies. Factoring companies are third-party billings for people that don't know on the call, and they're like loan companies. And these people don't really understand that, and they get trapped in these terms. And you know, they just have a real big. It's a battle going between them and the factoring company, and so they find themselves in lawsuits with that. Like you said, fender benders. You know, they find themselves. You know, they can be sitting and get hit and find themselves the one being written up. You know, it's their fault. So now they got to defend themselves. And I know a lot of times, Lamar, you know, it used to be when, you know, when we were prospecting, you know, when we started to talk about, you know, what we do and who do it for us, which is attorneys. You know, companies were quick to say, owners were quick to say, you know, my insurance company would handle that. And what I found is that what they don't understand, that $1 million policy that they have, if they have to use an attorney in a transportation lawsuit, a lot of those attorney fees eats up that $1 million coverage.
That's right.
That they have. So when we come in with our coverage, we take away that attorney fee out of that $1 million policy and put that back into the policy where they can use it for other things, where you know, whatever else they got to pay out. But the attorney fees, we can offer that at a reasonable rate. And then a lot of them don't understand if they had to use that insurance, 9 times out of 10, that company's gonna drop them after all that is settled. And so it's a lot of education there. And when the company hasn't actually used the insurance, that's what their nest egg is that they have that. And it's just lack of knowledge. Our insurance guy recently explained to me how they really don't know. And the norm is $1 million policy, but that is eaten up so quick in a lawsuit that's why you see companies go out of business, because they can't recover, because it's so much more than that $1 million that they have to pay.
Yeah,
So
I've
just
got-
knowing all that.
Yeah, I've got some larger companies that the first $1 million is on them, and then their insurance kicks in after the first $1 million.
Yeah, and they just don't
but-
understand. They just hear $1 million and they just think they're good. And
Oh yeah.
But-
One of the things, Sharanda, I'll tell you about, I had a company with, I think it was 12 drivers last week presenting the small biz plan. And the thing that really attracted to them, because they're dealing with multiple states, was to review their contracts that they have with companies. Just to review, to make sure they got a good agreement. And they found that very attractive in our program. So like you're saying, it's a lot of things other than a fatality accident that may attract a company to our program.
And most companies are looking for dedicated routes, dedicated lanes. They're looking for that dedicated, contract. And so then they have the ability to get that looked over, because they're negotiating with that dedicated freight. So, that could be really powerful for them. I mean, they're signing papers all day. I mean, but when it comes to like dedicated lanes and things like that, they have the ability to have time to get those contracts there really reviewed. So that really helps. It really does.
Thank you,
Sharanda.
Yes.
Hey, I wanted to jump in real quick just to, because I know most of the time on the Facebook page, and for those that don't know where the Facebook page is at, I just dropped it in the link. I know most of you guys are on it already, and on the certification trainings, we say it on there too as well. So I know a lot of you guys know where it's at, but there's always somebody new because people join that group every day. So there's always new people, so we like to make sure people know where everything is at. Go in the file section to pull files on all of the different stuff. So all of the fact sheets or anything that you need, you can go to LS Engage and get your regular back office stuff to put your name on it. But like the transportation clipboard that we use when we're talking about going into a company, and the Lamar Reynolds script on what to say to a safety manager when you call about the product and all that kind of stuff, it's all in the file section. But also it's the week of convention. And I know that, Sharanda, you've been posting a lot of the business solutions trainings that are going on during the conference. And of course, you post most of the small business solution or business solutions posts on that page so that people are familiar with the group side and CDLP and know that they're both kind of intertwined, especially if you're doing CDLP and you're doing group. So if you want to mention some of the trainings that are going on this week for business solutions and for the conference and everything.
Absolutely. Great reminder. So for those that don't know, that may be new to the call, so corporate, since we've been in COVID, corporate really, they really catered to us making a shift. So we've been doing what we call blitz calls on Tuesdays. We have a pre-training that starts at 10:45. That's Eastern time. I'm on Eastern, so I'm talking Eastern. 10:45. And then at 11 o'clock, the blitz starts Eastern time. And what that does, guys, we have a whole site where you can log in, solutionsblitz.com, and you can track your calls and your appointments. But what it does, guys, is it builds the energy to know that even though you in your home and your office, it's thousands or hundreds of associates working right beside you, doing the same thing you're doing to give you that energy. And, it's been some great opportunities that have come out of that. You'll see our top solutions people on there as well, because what it does is, you might be busy the rest of the week, but for 2 hours, you can make calls with your other business partners and you all are working in the same, towards the same goal. So we have that on Tuesdays. That will be tomorrow. They're giving great incentives, gift cards. I've been blessed just get a gift card last week. And that's just by showing up doing activity. They do a drawing. But then we, we're coming up to our international convention, right? And I go back. So we have small business chat, and all this stuff is on your events calendar. But what we don't want you to do is to think that CDLP is in a category by itself, guys. It's solutions. It's just a industry, just like schools. You just have to be certified here to promote CDL, but it's still solutions. So all the incentives that you see out there, opening new groups with $50, now the outreach incentive, that's a combo, guys. That's $50 and some change. That's a new group. And you can earn some extra bonus on that. If you just write one small business plan in that business, it has to be connected to a business. Don't just find Joe at the local store and think you can write him up as a group, because if he don't own the company, you can't do it like that. So, but if you open up a group, doing a combo, that's $59. That's $50 and I think 29 cents. That's a new group open with an incentive connected to it. So make sure you check those incentives out. But we have webinars for your decision makers. We have on-demand videos and webinars, even in the CDLP space, guys. Alan Roman has a 9-minute video that you can share with a prospect on demand, and I know a lot of people, I know a couple of people on this call has used that and had some success. So you want to make sure you plug into that. Corporate does a great job by sending out emails with all the solutions information on it. But also we are going into our international convention this week. I think some of the events start tomorrow night, but Solutions has a breakout on Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern. I know everything comes in Central, but I'm on Eastern, so that's what I talk. So it's 3 to 7, so it's 2 to 6 on Central. But if you haven't registered, go to Solutions with the S, breakout.com, and register. It's free. And so you'll hear from top Solutions people on that breakout. And also on Saturday morning, the whole Saturday morning first session is nothing but solutions. So you want to plug into that as well. And then on Sunday, Melissa Wilder will be hosting a small business training. It starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Go out to your calendar and register for that. You want to hear about the new incentives, the new features coming out on small biz. I'm excited to hear what's coming out. So guys, just plug into those. We have a lot of incentives out there, a lot of money on the table in the solutions division. And if you're focused on CDLP, now you can get premium, you can, you get all that stuff. You can get performance club points, but you can open a group with one combo plan in CDL. That's huge. One driver. How many times have you prospected a company and they call you and say, I got a driver that needs your program, and you thinking, golly, that's not even a group. But now it's a group, a qualifying group. You know what I'm saying? A qualifying group. So take advantage of that. So Dunbar, I think that's most of the incentives. But yeah.
That's it. Go ahead, Mr. Reynolds. You're talking.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'm just going to say, I opened 2 groups last week, just like you're talking about. And opened one that morning and one that afternoon, with just small, with a couple of memberships, and that was it. Sharina, before we get away from small biz,
we're not going.
Okay, I wanted you to comment on the plus plan, because the interstate coverage is, you can have interstate coverage on the plus and the pro, but it's got a little footnote there for the plus. It says half of these services can be used for out-of-state matters. could you just comment on that of how the interstate coverage, apparently there's some limitations to it versus the pro, but in the plus, there it says the interstate plan coverage, consulting services, and 1/2 of the amount provided for letters and phone calls, document review, and collection letters. So could you kind of respond to that of what?
Let me see if I got it pulled up here.
Yeah.
I don't think I got it printed out. I gotta pull it up because I don't know unless I'm looking at it.
Because the pro, all of the interstate coverage for advice, interstate coverage for letters and phone calls, designated consultant, document review, interstate, collection letters, interstate. But on the plus, it has a little asterisk there.
Yeah, there is some features that are interstate and some that are not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted you to kind of clear for everybody on the call, that so that we don't jump off into saying that, you know, this is an interstate
right
services, which in fact, there are some limitations to the plus.
I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
It is.
And while you pulling that up real quick, Sharanda, go ahead and pull that up. Just so you guys know, if you don't have your ticket for your conference, please reach out to your upline, your ring earners, and your organization. I know sometimes the organizations will have some. I've seen a few people post on the Facebook page saying that they had some tickets. I know that Chris Seelig has them. I think hers are gone now, but we got some other people who have some tickets as well. So make sure you can get your convention tickets, get them ahead of time, get that knocked out the way. Still people that have discounted tickets. So get your tickets so that you can get on I mean, you don't have to go anywhere this year like last year. So you're looking at this at the comfort of your own home, being able to take some notes on everything from solutions to networking, guys. So just use the opportunity to build your business. So I wanted to throw that in there real quickly while you guys were.
You want to do the testimonial while I continue to pull this up?
Yes, I can. So while you pull up that stuff, so Lamar, we're gonna get that question answered when she gets that pulled up. And for a couple of questions that are in the chat, we may be able to get to them, we may not, but I want to throw this testimonial up first because we have a young lady who actually went out and opened up a group with small business and CDL plans. We wanted to bring her to the call because we love to get the field testimonial so that you guys know that it's not just trainers and field trainers who are having success. It's everybody in the company that applies themselves. And if you get on that call on Tuesday, right? If you get on the 2-hour call block, you'll see leaders in the company. You'll see everybody from leaders who've been here for over 20 years, to some that's been here a decade, that's something that just started. Let me get that muted real quick. Hold on. All right, so you'll hear from, Brandon, not hear from, but you'll see people making those calls, and that's very encouraging. So I would suggest to everybody make an attempt to get on there because it is definitely encouraging to see everybody making calls. And real quickly, where's the 9-minute video for for Alan Roman? Where's that at?
It's so corporate. So it should be in your newsletter, and corporate also sends out an email with all those links as well. So check your email from Solutions if your Solutions qualified.
And worst case scenario, if you cannot find it anywhere, the 9-minute video, call corporate, call Business Solutions and have them guide you there, or go to the Legal Shield support or Legal Shield success page and just tag one of the corporate heads there and ask them. They may, and there's a couple of corporate people that are on our CDL page here as well. So you may be able to tag a couple people here, but wherever you need to do it, but make sure you know where it's at so that you can utilize it. Because I have seen, I just can't remember where I got it from originally when I saw it. So Miss Arnithia Hickman, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
yes, I am.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing excellent. Good to see you. And I'm thank you for taking us up on the offer to come on and talk about the new group you opened up. So if you can just spend a few minutes letting us know who you are, what your background is, how long you've been with Legal Shield, and how you were able to open up that transportation company as a group.
Okay, my name is Arnita Deal. I'm out of the Mississippi market. I've been in the business a little under 13 years now, off and on, but I'm back now. And I was doing a blitz called out of the Mississippi Central. We was doing a blitz on a Tuesday, and I was making a call, and that's how I got my appointment. And so I called and introduced myself, and then he was like, well, could you come in tomorrow? So I said, yes. And so when I got there, the owner was there, the office manager, and another guy, I guess he was the secretary because he was in behind the desk. And I had my clipboard, and he was like, well, I know about Legal Shield. I have the membership. This is the owner that's talking. I said, you do? He said, yeah, I do. I used to be a driver, but we branched out, me and my partner, we branched out on ourselves and opened a business. The office manager, he also had the CDL membership. So I said, so what about the drivers? He was like, no. I said, well, why the drivers don't have it? You two protected, but y'all sitting in the office and they on the road, they don't have it. And he was like, you're right. And then the guy that was sitting in the secretary in the back, he came out and he said, oh, we need to get that because Sam just turned that truck over a few months ago. Oh, and I was like, yeah, you need to get it. And he was like, well, we already know about it. He said, so when can we sign the guys up? I mean, this was the quickest group that I've signed up. And I said, and he said, one of the guys, the office manager said, well, let's just sign them up. He was just gonna sign them up. He had already figured out, well, this how much it's gonna cost out of their weekly. And then Ricky said, well, no, we just gonna do a meeting, get everybody in. So we just don't want to take out their check, and so they won't know what they got going on. And so I said, well, what are y'all gonna? So I went to the DOT directory and I printed out the SMS sheet for the company. And so I laid it on the desk. Then Mr. Roy said, oh, you got all the information on the company. Can I have that? I said, yes, because they didn't know how to find it. And so I gave it to him. Then he looked at it and he told the owner, he said, that violation right there, that look like your truck. That look like your truck number, Donnie. And he got quiet. He didn't say anything. Then I said, well, what are you guys going to do about the old tickets? Do you want to try to get them adjudicated off? And he was like, yeah, what we need to do, can't you sign us up today? So I was like, yeah. Then he said, right now. I said, yeah. He literally got out of his seat. And I pulled up my website and they signed up right there on the spot. And he wanted me to come back Saturday, but two other drivers was gonna be out of town. So I go back, he's gonna call me Wednesday. I might go back this Saturday or next Saturday, and they have 7 drivers, which they want me to present and sign up. I mean, that was the easiest group that I've done. And that was it. If you stick and stay and plug in, and I watched the trainings, I watched the replays of the calls over and over and over. So if you be consistent, stick and stay, and plug in, you'll get what you want.
Good stuff. So first of all, congratulations. Congratulations and going in there and doing it, because that's the first step, is making that call and then going to that appointment. So super congrats. I'm really excited for you that you follow the information. So let's look at systems here. So you said that you got the appointment because you were on the call blitz. Now, were you on the Tuesday call blitz that corporate does?
No, I was with the Southern Central blitz.
Okay, so the Southern Central has a business. Is it a business solutions or networking, or is it just a blitz for whoever?
A blitz, just a prospecting blitz.
So it was a prospecting blitz, but you chose to call on business solutions clients during that blitz.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, that's good stuff. And Sharanda talks about that. She says on Tuesday, if you whatever you need to call, whatever calls you need to make, block that 2 hours to make those calls because it's still encouraging. Okay, so you did that. You said you had a clipboard. What clipboard are you talking about?
Mr. Out of the file, the clipboard that's out of the file for Mr. Reynolds.
Okay.
That's in the CDL group. Got you.
All right, guys. So systematic. She got on a call blitz in her area, in her region. She made phone calls, right? Prospecting, activity. She made those phone calls. She got the appointment. She went to the appointment with the proper material. Systematic, guys, not magic here. She took the information from the file section of the CDLP page, which we call a transportation clipboard, which is the materials that we use to go in and talk to the companies so we're not stumbling over ourselves. And then she also mentioned that she pulled the company's information. So where did you get that idea from, to pull the company's information?
Off the training, off the CDL training, the nightly training that you all do.
Good stuff. Systematic again. So we showed how to pull companies. You pulled the companies, so you had the proper information, and you went in there and closed the deal. So guys, it's all systematic stuff. Like no special training, no backflips. No, I've been in sales for 20 years. If you've been in that, if you're in those circumstances, that's fantastic. But you don't have to be. It's all systematic. So the materials that she used are the same stuff that's in LS Engage, and then like the different things that we've created, like to show the points and all that kind of stuff. That's all on the Facebook page. You can print it off and use it for a clipboard when you're going out to do your prospecting. The trainings that we do every Monday we're here. We've been here for 3 years doing a training on Monday from 8:30 to 9:30 for an hour, letting you all know exactly what to do in the CDLP space. And periodically it's group orientated, but it's about the CDLP membership, right? Every Monday. The information is in the file section. The callers here every Monday get to refresh your CDLP trainings. When the last time have you taken the actual CDLP certification training?
The last time they was free.
Last time it was free. Okay, so I think that was in January. I think I did them all in January free. So you just got refreshed in the certification training with Chris Seelig, 50K ring earner, and Alan Roman, the top CDL producer in the company. He's hit platinum several times from just being in the CDLP group space in his business. So all systematic things, guys. She's doing systematic things, and she opened up the group the same way that we said it could. Did you use a field trainer, or did you just kind of do it on your own?
I did it on my own.
Good stuff. You've been at 13 years.
Yes.
Good stuff. So remember, if you can't do it on your own, if you don't have an upline that understands business solutions and group and CDL, whatever space you're in when you're doing that presentation, please opt for a field trainer. If you don't know how to find one, call the person that runs your region. Reach out to one of us on one of the trainers on the page, and we'll help you find one in your area. But use the certification trainer, because if you go on, use the field trainer. If you go in and make sure the field trainer is knowledgeable in that space, right? If it's small business, make sure they understand small business, because I could be a CDLP field trainer or a group field trainer and not know the business plan as well, right? If that's the case, you want to know that. So ask that field trainer questions as well. When you're working with that field trainer, like, be coachable and go in there and do that split. And after you've done that enough times, you know how to do it on your own. But it's a thing that you should be doing. If you don't know what you're doing by yourself, please go on with a field trainer, because when you don't, you hurt your business, you hurt Legal Shield as a company, and you hurt the person that's going to come in behind you. Other people that are working that same market in your area, you're hurting them as well. So we want to make sure that we understand to do those things when we're going. So Sharanda, you good over there?
I'm good. I pulled out the proposal. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Go ahead,
So,
Lamar. What's up, Lamar?
So I was about to ask Mr. Lamar, did he have any questions or anything, any comments on Ms. Arniti?
Yeah, before we leave her, I just wanted to make a comment that just really caught my attention, that she walked into the account with all this information, and the way she closed the business was in person. And Sharanda, you know, this is what I love to do. I love to walk into that account. And sometimes I will do unannounced. And in this particular case, she had an appointment, which even is much better because you got the appointment, but you went in. And now there's interaction between you and different people at that company that really set the stage for you to open that business. If you hadn't have been there live time, you know, instead of, let's say, over the phone, you might not have closed that business. But in that you walked in there, there was interaction with more than one person that allowed you to close that business on the spot. And that's what I love about walking into trucking companies. That's my specialty. That's what I really love to do, is walk into trucking companies. So,
and he also stated that the company was expanding, and he said, we need you here for all the new hires. And I said, just let me know when you're having your safety meetings.
That's one of the best times to sell memberships, is new driver orientation class. And I have some of my bigger companies. I've got about 4 companies I go to weekly that is new driver orientation classes. And that is just an excellent time to sell memberships. I had last Thursday, I have a company that I go to each Thursday at noon. Last week, I had 4 drivers sitting there. You want to guess how many memberships I sold?
8.
I sold eight memberships. I sold double memberships to all 4 drivers. Now that don't happen every time. That's the reason I'm kind of tooting my horn on that a little bit. It was 100%, but I sold double memberships to 4 people at that new driver orientation class. So new driver orientation classes are excellent time to sell the new drivers coming into that company. So excellent job. I love to hear your testimony, the way you explained it. And it was so powerful with you walking in there and closing that right there on the spot. I mean, that's what was so good. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Good stuff. And remember, guys, keep those memberships on the books, because this CDL plan with the new changes in 2021 is really backloaded. So you've heard Lamar talk about that in detail. You're going to make most of your money on that CDLP sale with you keeping it on the books. So you want to keep your memberships on the books. Pay attention to your persistency in LS Engage, and make sure that you're calling your pre-cancels and all that kind of stuff. I think my persistency, I think is over 85 right now. I normally stay in the 80s. Every now and then it'll fluctuate, but I normally stay in the 80s. But just make sure you're answering those truck drivers' calls, and you're making sure if a company is going out of business or something that you call those truck drivers individually. And that's why I like to do bank. I like to do bank draft in that space. I don't normally use HR. We don't do a lot of employer payroll deduction in the trucking space. We do a lot of the bank draft group setup because it's a little bit it's a cause for you losing those memberships during that turnover. So if you have an opportunity to do that, I know Lamar has opened up over 100 trucking companies, and I will believe over 90% of those have been bank draft groups. He has a good persistency. I have a good persistency. I know Alan Roman. Say that. You said you too?
I do too.
Yep.
I'm at 78 right now. I ain't saying I'm at 78.
78. Bank draft groups, guys, when it comes to transportation, because the truck drivers, they get fired pretty often and they leave pretty often. So you can keep them on the books if they're paying for it out of their pocket. So think about that as well. So Sharanda, did you have, before we close out, because it's about time for us to close out, I know, did you have something you want to mention on that?
Well, it says on the interstate, receive help with out-of-state business legal matters. Select services are provided anywhere within the U.S. regardless of principal business location. Half of all the services for letters and phone calls, advice and consultation, document review, designated consultation, and collection letters can be used for matters outside of the state of your principal business. Small business legal plans are not available in all states. There's like 3 states that doesn't do that. So we just have to break that down. It breaks down like all the categories, our normal categories, like the letters and advice. I just have to study, and I'll mention it next week, which is which. So I'll break it up for you, Lamar, next week.
Yeah, I was just
how much is covered for you and how much is not.
Yeah, I was just looking at the plus. There's a little asterisk there beside letters and phone calls. There's one beside document review, 20 per year, and collection letters, 10 per year. And so half of these services, so does that mean like document review, there's 20 per year? That means 10 could be out of state?
I have to read the fine print to tell you exactly.
Okay.
But I will say on the pro, the letters and phone calls, the designated consultation, the document review, and collections are all out of state.
Yes.
Interstate.
Yes.
All
Absolutely.
of them.
Yeah. And also remember this too, guys. Like, you guys are business owners. So like, call corporate and ask if you got any questions about the new plans, the old plans, whatever part of Legal Shield that you don't understand. Pick up the phone, call corporate, call Business Solutions, Group Resources, find out before you market a plan so that you don't market it wrong, so that it doesn't fall off the books, it doesn't affect you, you don't have a bad reputation. So always take the time to do that. And sometimes you have to deal with different issues as they come along. So if you feel like somebody asking you about something you don't understand, call corporate, find out, or call a field trainer, whoever, find out, and then move forward from there. So again, guys.
It says it, Dunbar. No, it says that when you look at each feature, it says half of your allotted communications can be pertained to out-of-state matters. So half of, like you said, Lamar, whatever, like, so letters and phone calls, however many you get, half of those can be for out-of-state. The collection letters, half of it can be for out-of-state.
Yeah.
That's allowed it.
I just thought that would be really good to explain that to everybody.
We'll do it. We'll do it more thoroughly. I'll be prepared next week to do it more thoroughly.
You bet. And I wasn't real clear on it either. So thank you so much.
No,
but I knew the plus had some interstate coverage. It wasn't totally 100% interstate. The pro is, but not all the features for the plus is it.
All right, good stuff. Well, we're gonna get you guys off here. Don't forget, on Thursdays, Sharanda Ivy does an accountability call for CDLP. So
it's not this week though.
Oh, because of corporate.
Yeah, we're canceling this week. If you guys want to see me, you'll see me on the panel on Thursday. So plug into that. Solutions breakouts.
So no accountability call this Thursday because of the conference, but it'll continue next Thursday. Guys, you guys will see us here again next Monday. Enjoy the conference this week, guys. Take plenty of notes. We will be talking about what happened at the conference on next Monday's CDLP call, just so we can kind of talk about some things, whatever changes and all those kind of things that's going to affect business solutions, guys. So we're about getting off here 8 minutes late. So we appreciate you guys for sticking with us. Thanks. If you guys have any questions, ask them on the Facebook page or go to Legal Shield Associate or support page and ask the questions there. And you guys be safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Good evening.
Thank you, Dunbar.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great.
Good night, everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Congrats to all.
Thank you again, Ms. Arnita.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely.
Hey, Robert,
Yes.
I got to ask you a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So I got introduced to the safety director for SUDEF. They're a moving company.
Uh-huh.
They work with like Allied Van Lines. So when I went online and I checked their stuff with DOT, I mean, these guys they're like as clean could be.
Uh-huh.
So am I wasting my time talking to them, or what's the best approach I should do since it was an introduction?
It's not low-hanging fruit, but since you got an introduction, you can kind of make it warm. If it was me, I would actually go after them with the approach of let's help keep you this way. Let's help keep you that way. So if it's a clean company I'm talking to, my objective is normally for them, hey, let's help keep you clean. Let's help make sure that your record stays good. You guys have been doing a good job. I always celebrate them for that because there's not a lot of trucking companies with a really great record.
Right.
So if they're really clean, I would just call them and first congratulate them on being clean first, just kind of celebrate that and then say, hey, look, I like to make sure that companies are staying that way. This is what we can do. This is what we offer. In order to keep the company protected, we need to protect the drivers. And we kind of go about it that way when it's a clean company. I don't go after a lot of clean companies. I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't personally, but every now and then I'll fall on a company and it happens to be a clean company. And then that's my approach, is because they know that if they're on top of their game, they know that they are, and they know that that's not standard in the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
just wondered. Yeah, because their top salesman nationally is a personal friend of mine, and we were talking about it the other day. He knew Legal Shield. He's used them in the past. Now he's just doing sales, not driving. But he said, yeah, since I believe in the company, I'll introduce you. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's how that came about.
Yeah, and if you need me to do anything for you, a three-way or something like that, or you know what I mean, like decision maker over the phone or something like that, Yeah, you just, I mean, I don't need to be on it. I don't need no splitter or nothing like that. I don't need none of that stuff to do no over the line, over the phone introduction. So if you want to bring me in on it to help you get the deal closed, and then once you get it closed, you can kind of work that out however you plan on working out with a field trainer or whatever.
Okay.
But I can do that over the phone for you if you need
Okay, that would be good, because their main office is literally 10 minutes from me, 15 minutes from me, over nearby where we go to church. So I could actually do a walk-in if Dan gives me the, if the guy is open to that.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it, brother.
All right, thanks.
Man.
Hey,
I
brother.
appreciate you, man. Thanks for sticking on. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
you're welcome.
Did Randall leave, man?
Hey.
Hey,
how you?
I'm good, man. Did Sharanda already leave?
Sharanda, let me see. Yeah, it looks like she's gone already.
Man, I wanted to give her some props. I remember when Sharanda first came on here, man, and I would I would be laughing like everything because she was wild and crazy. And now to see where I just wanted the new people to hear how she started and where she is today and how many people she helps and what she does for us on that Thursday night call. Man, the girl is awesome,
Yeah, man, she is. She is. She's come a long way. And
to see where she come from and to see where she is now, it's almost like two different people, And I know when you and Lamar and Frankie first started this thing out and she came on and I was here and I just seen her grow so much. Yeah, I'm so proud of her and happy to know her.
Yeah. And now she's a certification trainer. That's something.
Yeah.
That's just crazy, man. So no, it's good, man. I love to see growth, man. That's kind of what I live for, man. So it's really good to just be able to see people come in and get helped and find a niche in the legal shield and then find something to plug into to just grow themselves. So yeah, man, it's been good. The call and Zoom stays full of energetic people, man. And we just gonna keep it moving, man, and just make sure people are getting the right information, man, so they can get this thing done the right way, brother.
Yeah, she definitely an inspiration, man. All you guys are. Thank you all for everything.
Absolutely, brother. I look forward to seeing you in the field again too. I ain't been up here in a while, but
right, come on down. It's hot up in here. Come on down here.
Get some more groups over there in that area.
All right,
brother. Good stuff, man. Well, you enjoy your night, man, and you enjoy the conference as well.
Mr. Dunbar, is there a charge for the convention?
Yes. You gotta go on, but you can get the tickets. There's a couple people with tickets on the page. So you can go to the Facebook page. So a couple people got some tickets. If you can't find it in there or with your upline, contact me. I can get. I'm sure, and I'm in a ring earner thread with Mr. Self and them. Because I'm one of the TNB ring earners, so I'm in that thread, and there's always tickets to find there. Mr. Self can always find a ticket somewhere. So if you need a ticket, just hit me up and I'll help you find one. We gonna make sure you don't miss it, brother. We ain't gonna have to worry about that.
Okay.
We'll get you in there.
Good job.
Absolutely, brother.
Thank you.
You got it. Absolutely.
Thank you for all your help.
Oh, you got it. Absolutely, brother.
Question, please.
Yeah.
I found a company I looked up on the company. The company address is in Ontario, Canada, but they have a US DOT number and they have drivers who drive all over the northeastern United States. But their address is in Canada. Can we still prospect that company?
You can talk to the company because you can protect the drivers that are driving in the States. If they're driving to Canada, we can't help them with the plan. So any drivers that are driving in Canada, and that's where they're driving at, because I've got a couple of companies that I work with that they got drivers that drive in the States. Those drivers have a protection. We just got to sign them up when they're in the States, because you can't sign them up in Canada because our plan will not protect them there. So it's real simple. Just call the company and look to get the group set up, and then ask them for a census report of the drivers who are driving in the States. Okay. And then call those drivers, and you can enroll those drivers when they're in the States. So if they're driving to Michigan or wherever they may be at, Buffalo, New York, wherever they could possibly be at, you need to enroll them then when they're in that state, because you cannot enroll them while they're in Canada.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
One other thing too, I was wondering about the Anithia called her group tonight. She said she set up immediately from her website.
You said she opened it up from her website?
I thought that's what she said. She did, and I wonder how she started.
Yes, she did.
She did.
I was wondering.
Okay, so I would have to ask her how she opened it up from her computer, but typically speaking, you would do a group authorization form, and those are fillable online, so you can go to LS Engage, pull it up, and type it in online and send it to them for them to sign it and send it back. Once the group is set up, meaning that once you get the group authorization form back to corporate and they approve the group, they will allow you to do doggone, I can't even think of the name of it.
Legal Shield at work.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Legal Shield at work. And then you can get the drivers enrolled there if they live in an unlicensed state with the CDL. Just keep in mind, because with CDL, it's a little bit different, meaning that if that driver lives in South Carolina, which is a licensed state, even if you're enrolling them in North Carolina, because you have to put their address in there, the Legal Shield at work is going to kick it out because it's South Carolina, unless you have a license there.
Okay.
If you don't have a license there and you're enrolling them in North Carolina, you're going to have to do a paper act for that particular driver. But if it's a driver that lives in Georgia or Florida or some other unlicensed state, you can put them in right through Legal Shield at work. So once you open the group up with the authorization form through corporate, once it's open and it's showing up back there, you can go right back there and type their information in to enroll them by enrolling a new member.
Okay.
And that's normally what I do for my companies. My trucking companies, I normally just get the census report and I just call. I call the drivers one at a time, and when I get them on the phone, I go ahead and tell them what it is, and then I enroll them right through Legal Shield at work while they're on the road. I just ask them the questions and I type it in the system. That's normally what I do with the truck drivers, especially during COVID, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you got it. You got it. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and close out. Again, make sure you register for the conference. Make sure you are attending the conference and taking good notes. So see you guys here again next Monday.
Thank you so much.
All right, you got it.
Appreciate all of you.